So obviously when I was a kid, growing up in the neighborhood and was a good kid, and just as I was getting older into teenage years, got mixed up in the wrong crowd, started doing drugs and skipping school, doing all the wrong things, and it got to a point to where my mom was like, let's go to church. So we went to church. Never really felt like it was my thing. I didn't feel accepted. I felt very judged, very conservative. Everybody's dressed up, I didn't really understand that. And eventually we just kind of stopped going. And, it was one of those times that we just didn't, it was a thing that we did for a little bit and then we stopped going. So it kept going on, kept getting worse and worse and worse. Ended up dropping out of school, spending time with the wrong people all the time. Got kicked out of my house, moved in with my grandparents, went back, got my GED, and decided, hey, let's, join the military. Decided, let's try this, see if it'll straighten me out. I did for a little while until I met the wrong crowd again, and just kept on going. Started doing drugs in the military, and kept on. And then I got involved with even worse people. But, I went to Iraq for a year, experienced some trauma over there, came back. Didn't really know how to deal with my emotions, so I started seeking out those wrong people again. Never really, looking to God, always looking to my own rules and trying to figure out, this life thing by myself. Started selling drugs, started, doing drugs every day, pretty much, until the fact I got caught, went hot on a urinalysis test, got put on extra duty. And then you would think that would stop me, but it didn't. Kept on doing it. All of a sudden, hey, I'm selling to an undercover officer, getting caught. And then that escalated into me going to jail for 5 months of my service. Really ended on a bad note, something I regret, of course, forever. And then, you would think that would stop, but it didn't. I got out still doing the same things. Not operating under any certain rules, and I wasn't looking to God for any answers ever. Just kind of figured out on my own. And I just kind of kept on going about life, still occasionally doing drugs, and then finally moved back to Jacksonville. Met, my wife in 2009 after a stint of staying, clean and being good, and then decided, hey, I'm still gonna operate under my own set of rules. Was treating her bad, doing things I shouldn't have done in marriage. I had kids and still was acting bad. Come to a point where my marriage was on the rocks and it was about to be time for a divorce, pretty much, because that was her thoughts, We tried everything. And then finally one day she said, hey, let's go to church. There's this new church that my friend told me about called TheCity.church. So I said, all right, I didn't really want to, but it was kind of a thing, so I wanted to save my marriage, so I went. And so we went, I see Jeff and Matt out in the parking lot, super nice people, dressed normal, not super dressed up or anything. And then, I go into this church and it's like, man, the message is great. The music is great. Certainly not what I thought of as church, and at that moment, it's like it hit me like a flood, just like, hey, this is the moment I'm gonna own it and jump both feet in and try this, So from that moment on, decided to give my life to Jesus, got saved, baptized at the church. And from that point on, man, it saved my life, saved my marriage, saved, everything that I had, I owe to giving my life to Christ in the City Church.